Fine. Today we are going to hold in terms of data types, data size and dependencies. Okay. Now I'm going to take a simple data. For example, let us take a match. Okay. Match. I'm trying to increase the font size to 14. Okay. I take this is a match. For match I want to get details. We already listed down some of the micro level details of every match. What should be the micro level data for every match? Said match ID, from date, to date, stadium, okay, then type of match, whether it is 1 day or 5 days, right? And also talked about what is team A, what is team B, okay. Then it is national or international, okay, that information. Then umpire A, umpire B, suppose we are having third umpires also, umpire C, okay. So we have these many information stored for that particular match, okay. Now one of our suggestions to people always is that instead of putting them into row, okay, we always have one exercise for our systems analyst, okay. Instead of trying to get a table information like this, make an Excel sheet, create sample data, okay. The fundamental trick is, if you are able to visualize the data how it is supposed to look, okay, Excel is one of the best tools. Any spreadsheet for that sake, it may be IBM spreadsheet, Lotus spreadsheet, or Excel or Open Office spreadsheet, because spreadsheet is rows and columns. Database table, right, is tables and column, right? So when it comes to database design, okay, we are talking about database design here, so it is better to use a spreadsheet instead of having information listed in this manner. List the information on each column, okay. First try that, okay. Now I'm trying to get everything in terms of different columns. When it comes to sample data, it is better that we prepare a sample data in a spreadsheet and then start visualizing it, okay. Now let me just have this slightly arranged. The moment you are able to have the data filled in, okay, then you have a clear understanding of the structure. Now I say match number 1125, okay, 125, from date 10th January 2010 to 15th January 2010. Stadium, I would say Sir Vivian Richards Stadium. Type of the match is a 5-day match, okay. Let me say 5D. Team A, India. Team B, West Indies. It is international, okay. Now umpire A or B or C, right? Now let me just delete this column. Umpire A, let me say Ram, Steve. Umpire C is Ganguly, okay. To get one match information, when I put them in a single row, it gives me some meaning out of it. Same way, you prepare multiple sets of data. Now I'm just going to cut and paste the same information, okay. Sorry. This is 125. This is 137th match. This is 148th match, or say 154th match. It is going to be 11th to 11th January 2010, right? This is going to be in Chepauk Stadium. This is going to be one day, and then Team A is England, Team B is Pakistan. It is international. Umpire Joe Roshan. Umpire C is Amitabh. Another match, you can again put these dates, right? Again, this is going to be the same date, but it's going to be in Melbourne Cricket Ground. It's a 5-day match. It's going to be Australia versus New Zealand. Okay, international match. John, okay, Rob, then Roy. Okay, I'm just putting some arbitrary names. So if you look at this, each one is termed as a column because it looks like a pillar, and in each row, that data, one data alone, 10th January 2010 or 5-day or Australia, that micro detail alone does not give a meaning. But if you collectively look that as a single row or a record, right? Match number 154 from this date to this date at this stadium, this is this type of a match between these two teams, umpired by these three people. It gives you some meaning. So the fundamental rule in the database is each record in the database must have a meaning. It should give you some information. Like this, we need to prepare a lot of samples, maybe 3 rows, 5 rows. Now I want to make something for balls, right? Or say overs. I want to prepare some data for over. Then we are going to say match ID, I need innings, I need to determine the over number I need, okay, then bowler name, which end, whether it is pavilion end or far end, right? Now within this, primary umpire, leg umpire, right? Within this, I can always have match ID is 125, innings is first, over number is 45, bowler is lever, end is pavilion, okay, umpire is one of them, okay. For 125, can I have a different umpire name here? In this record, I'm saying the umpire is Ram and Steve. One of these two people can be the primary umpire and leg umpire. It cannot be a different umpire. This is called relationship. A record here has a relationship here. Okay, now I say primary umpire is Ram and leg umpire is Steve. So for the 125th match, over number 45, this is what has happened. Can I have a different umpire name like Rob or John here? It cannot be, because we have already told in this record, in this position, for match number 125, these two are the field umpires, 1 and 2. So one of the field umpires must be the prime and leg. It cannot be a different. This is called relationship. Now, like this, we can always prepare lot of data, right? First innings, 46th over, 48th over. Second innings, 3rd over, right? This may be Neil, this may be Stain, right? This may be lever, this may be the far end, this may be the far end. Now we can switch Steve and Ram back to back, right? Now if you look here, I can have the statistics of all the overs. I don't know how many people have seen a real cricket match and the statistics. There is a person called a scorer. there's a standard sheet that this person has in front of him. He makes a tick mark here and there and then notes down. Finally, that is taken as a fair copy, and then that information has been fed to the systems. Same way, if you want to get that field statistics and then store, you need to store in an organized fashion. Over by over, ball by ball, if I collect all the details, how many total balls have been bowled in this particular over? I don't maintain that information here in this record, whereas I may have another table or say another set of information called balls. Within that, now I will say all these information I will put plus ball number also, right? Then I will say speed, right? Pitching length, right? Type of the ball, whether it is a Yorker or a swinging Yorker, whatever. Then I will say runs in the ball, right? And then I'd say whether wicket yes or no. Now if I go here, 125th match, over number 45, ball number 1, 124.5, pitching length is I would say 16 yards. Again, because it's a 22-yard thing, I'm putting it in yards. Type of the ball is I would say full toss, or say normal. Again, I can have some notation. It's like offside, right? I can have offside ball, and then swinger, run scored 0, wickets 0. Now again, 125th match, first innings, same over 45, second ball is 134.5, pitching length is 20 yards, type of the ball is Yorker, run scored is 0, wicket is 1. If I want to get how many wickets have been scored in the 45th over, I have to collect information from this and then put it over there. So this information is primitive information. When I ask how many overs that Steve has bowled, or say Lever has bowled, how many runs Stein has given, that is a derived data. But every single set of rows and columns will start storing only primitive data or fundamental data. It is up to our programming languages and other stuff and other applications to derive the data, present it in a meaningful way. Again, you can always have at what time it has been bowled, right? It is done at 15 hours, 16 minutes, 15 hours, 17 minutes. So they can even score, put that information, right? This is called data sample preparation. Most of the times, we always ask our leads to prepare a sample of data in pure Excel sheet. Whether you have understood a banking application or an insurance application, prepare the data in Excel sheet. Show that information, group them, logically group them into macro level and micro level, right? At that point of time itself, you can catch very clearly saying that whether this person has understood the system or not. If a person is not in a position to prepare sample data, definitely the design that the person is doing is going to be faulty. If a developer does not understand this data sample, again, it's going to create problem. Same case for tester as well. Is this clear? After identifying macro level and micro level data, our next exercise is prepare the samples. Is this clear? Can you please raise the hands? Amazing, great. Let us continue to the next step. The next step is identify data type and identify data size. Okay, the next step is identify data type, then data size. This is again a very simple portion, but again we need to give attention to details right here also. If you see here, the very first step is identify macro and micro level data. This is one area that we have already worked on it, right? Then sample preparation that we just now saw. Identify data type and data size. Before going to the database, let us take some of the real life data. Okay, for example, name, city name, PIN code, telephone number, right? Email ID, date of birth. If you look at the real life data, they fall under a few categories only. And ultimately, a real life data alone is going to be stored in the system, because my date of birth is stored everywhere. My phone number is stored everywhere. My first name is stored everywhere. So every application uses only real-time data and real-life application data. Now, if you categorize all these real-time data, then they can fall under either it is a number or let us say integers. For example, my door number, I don't have a real number for that, right? Door number is an integer. In some place, then a real number is also used. For example, your weight, 24.3 kilograms, right? Or say, what is the height? In many places, the real number, this integer is without decimal, this is with decimal. Then the second portion is strings. Strings, many times it may be purely containing only alphabets, or it may be alphanumeric, that means it can contain characters and numbers, or it may contain alphanumeric with punctuation marks, or it may be purely alphabetic with punctuation marks. For example, in names, people may put sometimes apostrophe, right? Apart from apostrophe, I have maybe some hyphens. I have not seen any other characters in the names. Whereas a name doesn't contain 1, 2, 3 as numbers. So there are certain strings which can be purely alphabets alone, or alphanumeric, or alpha with punctuation, right? All fall under strings. There is something called date. Of course, you know, MMDD, YYR, YYMMDD, whatever format, and then there's something called a time, just the hours and minutes and seconds alone. Then someone can always use date and time, right? And somewhere there is one more thing called Boolean. Okay, Boolean meaning yes or no, or true or false, on or off, right? That kind of a situation. Most of the places in your real time, if you see, data will fall under one of these types. Okay, an email ID, I can take it as a string. A date of birth, I can make it as a date, right? Purchase order number can be taken as integer. Bill transaction number in ATM, it's an integer, right? And then my salary amount may be a real number, right? Is it international match or local match, right? Okay, I can always say, is it a wicket or not? Then I can say yes or no. Instead of using 0 and 1, I can use yes or no. Many to most of the times, your data will fall under one of them, right? Now, the next step is for every single data, okay? Now let us go to each one of these data. Let me introduce a new row here. Match ID. Do you want it to be string or a number? Now I say it's going to be a number. Now let me put it as in italicized format. Okay, this is going to be a number. This is going to be a date format. This is going to be a date format. this is going to be a string. Type of the match, again, this is going to be a string. Team A, this is also a string, okay. Team B, this is also a string. National or international, I would say this is a Boolean. This is string, this is string, this is also string. So what you need to do is identify for each data, right? What is the data type? Below that, you also say whether it is going to be 6 digits, 5 digits, what is the size? Now I'm going to say this is going to be a maximum, say 6-digit number. Date format, I want to have totally 10 characters for DD, MM, YY, that kind of a format. This also again 10 bytes I'm going to store. Stadium, I'm going to give say maximum 10 characters to store. I will use only abbreviations, I will not use the expansion mode. Type of the match, I want to say only 2, 5 days and 1 day, and then T2 or say TT. Just I want to store only 2 characters to determine that. Then this is going to be again 10 characters, 10 characters. This is going to be 1 character, yes or no. This is going to umpire name is going to be again 20 characters, 20 characters, 20 characters. So for each of these data, just below that, put what is the data type, put what is the data length. Now, if you look here, how many bytes it is going to occupy, I can do it in single thing, right? A single record is going to use sum of say 119 bytes. So if I'm using 1 million records in my table, it is going to occupy 119 million bytes in the hard disk. Data sizing needs to be done properly. Imagine so many matches are being played. The matches are not so huge, but the balls within each match. But again, that is also finite. In a single day, if we assume that 120 overs are bowled, we are talking about 660 balls. Or say 120 into 6, 720 balls are bowled. Maybe with the extras, you can always have 740 balls are bowled. For 5 days, 740 into 5, those many records will be created in this table. But that may not be huge. But if I start storing my county matches, right, all over the world every day, these number of rows will keep on growing. That is called a data growth rate. At what speed, what the data is growing. If you look at Facebook statistics and other stuff, Facebook will say we are getting 100,000 new users every day. They have crossed 400 million users, right? Same way, Twitter will say we are getting so many million tweets a day. Each tweet is occupying something in the database somewhere. If the data keeps on growing at an enormous rate and each record is taking say so many bytes, your disk will get full. So you need to know what is going to be the size of the data. This is the next exercise. Identify data type and data size. Is this clear to you all? Any questions? Before I proceed to the next session to talk about relationship, I want to know any doubts in this area, because identifying macro and micro level data, data sample preparation, fixing the data type and size, these are extremely critical for any database design. If this is not clear, going to the relationship is not going to any help. Okay. Any questions? I can wait. Think of any questions if you have. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. A few people have asked about what is null, what is varchar. Let us not worry about that, because those are specific to database create scripts. We will come to that a little bit later. At this point of time, a design is a concept which is not specific to a particular database syntax. Okay. Okay. Now, good. I think that I'm not getting any more questions in this area. That means people are definitely clear. Now, just to give a brief thing about macro level and micro level. Macro level is a collection of data. For example, over is a collection of data. Within that, I would say over number, which bowler bowled that is a micro level data. A collection of data is always macro. Independent or primitive data is micro. Good. The next thing is all about relationship of data. Okay. Relationship between data. Okay. Now, this is very simple and logical. All we are going to ask is a set of simple questions. Can one over have more than one bowler? One over is always associated with one bowler, right? One over, it always associates with one bowler. At least I have not seen in my experience a over is split between two bowlers. I bowl 3 balls and you bowl 3 balls. Okay. Now, one team is associated with one match, right? Suppose we say India has been playing a match against a country on this date. Can India play another match against another country in the same day? Maybe it is theoretically possible, right? You can still have a T20 happening between the same team back to back, but that doesn't happen. So one team associated with one match. Same way, one umpire associates with one match. At the same time, I don't see the same umpire doing referee work for 2 matches, right? Ball number, or say over number X, or say 45, can it be associated with 1 innings or more innings within the same match? I can have a 45th over in the first innings. I can have the 45th over in the second innings, right? So an over number can be associated with multiple innings, right? One over number, one or more innings. It is associated with one or more innings. Same way, one batsman, can he be associated with multiple bowlers? One or more bowlers. Obviously, if a batsman has been facing, right, he can be associated with one or more bowlers, he or she, right? One bowler can bowl to one or more batsmen, correct? These are nothing but a logical relationship between one data with another. The relationship that we need to always look at is 1 to 1, right? One PNR number in reservation system is always associated with one ticket, right? One train is always associated with one start station and one destination station, right? So that's a 1 to 1 relationship, but whereas one train, one to many, right? One train is associated with multiple stations along the route, whereas it has got only one start station and one end station, but it has got multiple stations along with its route, right? So 1 to many, 1 to 1, right? Again, many to 1 is a corollary of 1 to many, okay? Then we can have many to many, right? It's a combination of one to many and many to one. So essentially, if you look at, let me say, many to one, many to many. So one to one, one to many to one, many to many relationship can happen. But this many to one is a reverse effect of one to many. This many to many is a combination of these two. So I would always say these two are derived relationships, but if you are able to identify one to one relationship and one to many relationships, right? That will be a good start point. All I want you to do is identify that information like this: one over with one bowler, one team with one match, right? If you take the railway reservation system, one PNR number can be associated with one or more passengers, correct? But one PNR number is always associated with one train. That is fact. One train is associated with multiple tickets, right? One train is associated with multiple coaches. This way you identify the relationships, because we are going to do the actual table design with some tweaking probably in the next class. Okay? That time this relationship will help. This is, again, I am not going to use this relationship today to do further design, but I am just giving you the heads up. Identify and put them in a list, one to one and one to many, in a spreadsheet. How are we going to use? That comes next. The next part, the same relationship between data, is identify unique data. Okay. This is another relationship that you have to find it out. Again, it's not a strictly relationship. I would say this is the data uniqueness. Unique meaning it does not repeat in the system. Okay. For example, a match number is unique across the whole cricket system. Yes, right? Same way a PNR number is always unique. Whereas over number can repeat, innings number can repeat, right? Identify unique data. There are two things: across system, right? Across the system, what is unique? For example, the match ID cannot be repeated, right? It's always unique. Then it might not be just one data, it can be a combination. Okay, for example, the match ID, innings ID cannot be duplicated. For example, match number 125, innings number 1. I cannot have another record in the same table with match ID, innings number 1. In each of these groups that you have, macro level that you have done, right? In this combination, which cannot be repeated. For example, match ID, innings number, over number. Within overs data, these three cannot repeat together. I cannot have another row here, 125, 1, 45. Then there is a confusion. Which one I will take, right? So which one in each macro level data? Here match ID cannot repeat. Okay. Now let me put it under a different color. This cannot repeat. In overs, these three as a combination cannot repeat. In the balls, I can have these four cannot repeat together. For example, within this data, 125 is repeating, but the combination 125, 145th over, ball number 1, this cannot have one more entry in the same table. So within the system, across the system, and within macro level data, which is not repeating, which combination? It can be an individual data that cannot be repeating, or it can be a combination that cannot be repeating. So identify those things and then mark them in red color or whatever. This is the next step. Is this clear? Identifying the unique data across the system. For example, PNR number cannot be repeated within the whole railway reservation system within India. Whereas coach number S1, S2 can still repeat, but the train number, comma, coach number, that pair, that combination cannot repeat. Right? Seat number can repeat. Coach number, comma, seat number combination can repeat, but train number, comma, coach number, comma, seat number cannot repeat within the whole of Indian railway system. Right? So you need to identify across the system which is unique. Within each macro level data, what is the combination that is unique? Unique means it does not repeat. That is the next level of identification in the database design. Okay. Now, if you look at what we have done is we have covered 4 areas: data sample preparation. Take a simple Excel sheet, do that. Identify the data type and data size for each of them. Find out the relationship one-to-many, one-to-one. Then identify unique data across the system within the macro level data. If we are here, almost 75% of the design is almost done. After that, it is going to be only here and there some fine tuning to be done. Is this clear? Can you please raise the hands? Any doubts in this? Any doubts? And we would like to do really slowly, because design there is no point in hurrying. If you are able to learn right at the first shot in a slow pace concretely, then that's exactly what we want. There's no point in hurrying. Anyway, we have waited for so long. So let us go slow and steady, but make a strong step in every understanding in the design part. Any questions in these 4 areas? Okay. Okay. I don't receive any questions. That means I either completely convinced you or I completely confused you. Okay. Good. I have received only a few people replying with that sample macro and micro level data to webinar@softsmith.com. Again, I am putting this email ID at softsmith.com. We have not seen a whole lot of mails. As an example, what you people can do is, I have taken a few set of macro level data. I have prepared an Excel sheet. What I would like you people do is, okay, then you prepare an Excel sheet for all the data that you are trying to do for the statistical system. Make an Excel sheet, send it here, send it to webinar@softsmith.com. One of us will review and then see, because knowing a theory is okay, it is better than not knowing it. But going one step ahead, making it as a skill set, right? I always insist, my mentor used to always insist that if someone is bowling me an overpitched delivery, okay, standard principle to apply is loft it. Okay, an overpitched delivery is easy to loft and then send it, because the timing will be perfect. It can clear the ground. Yes, that's a theory. Any overpitched delivery must be punished. Great, that's okay. Same way, any full task must be punished. Good, that's a theory. We know that. But if Marshall is bowling or Stein is bowling that same overpitched delivery and I am facing the ball, am I in a position to do the lofting? Send it over the fence. Sending it over the fence and applying the theory is the skill, right? That skill will come only when you practice. I can read hundreds of theory books, but I may be only a theoretician. But unless I practice, the knowledge cannot be converted to a skill set without practice. So my sincere request to you, all the people on behalf of our Open Mentor, is whatever concepts you learn here, apply. Application is more important than just knowing it. Apply it, send it to this email ID, right? Someone will receive it and then review it. If something grossly done as a mistake, they will respond back. You have to correct these areas, right? Please do that so. Okay? Any questions? Again, this webinar is also being recorded, so we should be in a position to upload these webinars soon. Any other questions? Good. We will continue with normalization and actual table design with primary key and foreign key relationship using all these concepts. Okay. We will define primary key, foreign key relationship and normalization and arrive at the table design tomorrow. That's going to be the portion tomorrow. And thanks a lot. I will stop here since I'm not receiving many questions. I would like to stop the webinar here. We will continue tomorrow. Okay. Thanks a lot. Bye.